good evening, everyone. Hope you are all doing very well. Welcome back to another late night chat stream with myself and Joe. We love these late night chats. We like going live late at night to not be too serious, not try to be too professional, just relax and chat to you guys, see what's going on in the world. We've got a few things we want to talk about right now, but first, listen, do us a favor, hit the like button. We're already on 10 likes and there's 20 in the building, so let's try and get it up to 20 likes. That would be absolutely fantastic. Big up Daniel Thompson was first here. Big up Pete James. Nobody spending money at the minute. Hopefully Kalvin does well and is used in a deal for Paquette in the summer. We are certainly going to talk about that. Pete, big up Tej as my boy. Stephen Handler. And it's 3:30 p.m. in Canada. That's crazy. And 5:30 p.m. in New York. As if we're being watched right now in New York. Joe, that's fucking wild. Big up Alex. Section, good evening Blues, good evening Section. Evening only Blue in the village. And big up Akash, my friend. Good to see you, Akash. Like I said, guys, just hit the like button. It massively helps, and subscribe if you're new about here. I want to start with, we're not going to start with the Kalvin Phillips stuff. I did do a stream on that earlier on with Jordan, but we are going to talk a bit about it more with Joe, of course. I want to start with this Pep Guardiola story. Like I said, these late night chats, they're very lighthearted. We're not trying to be too professional or talk about anything too serious and be like, oh, this is fact or this is not fact. We're just kind of reading through what came out today, and Sam Lee made a report of some sort. I haven't read the actual report, but I know a lot of aggregators have been on this report, and this is it essentially. There's a feeling that if Man City were to be found guilty of the most serious of the alleged Premier League charges, rule breaches, and relegated to a lower division, Pep Guardiola would sign a new deal purely out of defiance. Now, not in this feed from the aggregator, but I have also read further to this that the club are very confident that everything Pep Guardiola said in his press conference the week of the charges, you know, that famous one where I'm not leaving the seat or whatever it was he said, the club are very confident that he didn't just say all that out of like emotion and feeling like he had to at the time. The club genuinely believed that Pep Guardiola really stands by the club and almost regardless of the outcome wants to stay. I mean, look, Sam Lee, very, very credible journalist when it comes to Manchester City. How do you even initially react to this? Like, what do you initially think when you see these kind of things? Because it's such a crazy statement. The natural thought process as a human being would be, if City get relegated, Pep Guardiola leaves. Is Pep Guardiola going to hang around in the lower divisions? I don't know. It's crazy, Joe. It's crazy.
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind initially is just, it's the craziest what-if scenario ever, because I still firmly believe we're innocent. So there's like, in my mind, you know, that doesn't even come across to me because I think we're going to be cleared. But it does then make you think, in the worst-case scenario, we're sent down to the Vanarama National League, whatever, right? They banish us down to the 5th tier of football, non-league, whatever. Like, it would do a lot, but there's been a lot of branding from rival fans, just football fans in general, over, you know, Pep can't do it without a budget. He needs a strong squad. He needs a lot of money. You know, he can't do what... the main one that you've seen over the last sort of 5, 6, 7 years is he couldn't do what Klopp did at Liverpool because Klopp did it on a smaller budget, you know, etc., yada, yada, just a lot of fucking nonsense, really. But it would really, really, really quiet those critics, because if he goes to the National League or League 2 or whatever, you know, a lot of players will want to leave. Granted, no Champions League football, that's fine. Obviously, finances would be different, so you'd have to get rid of a few anyway. But then, like, it would shut up a lot of people saying that he has to have a big budget and all these players to win. He has to have a good squad to win. If he comes up from League 2 and he wins every league up to the Premier League and then wins the Premier League again, like, that's a lot of critics silence from that. I mean, that's the way I look at it, is if, like, I guess he might view it as a point to prove, because he obviously, like, I swear down he's got a burner, because he does a lot of talking in his press conferences about the people on Twitter to not have a burner, but he knows all this talk, he's heard it all before, so maybe it's in the back of his mind that, you know, I can prove a point here. If worse comes to worse and we get relegated, I stick around and I prove to everyone that it's not just the money, I'm just a great manager.
Yeah, I suppose because the intensity of social media and how influential it is in society today, of course, players and managers and board members, Omar Barada, of course, very active on Twitter, they're all aware of what's said about them. And I know they always say things like, I try not to pay attention to it, and some players are very adamant about that. But things do get back to them and they do hear things. And look, for me, I know it's a big shout to say Pep stays even if City get relegated. Look, I still maintain, chat, don't worry, I still maintain fully that City are going to get cleared of everything. We'll be fully innocent, I believe, when push comes to shove. But look, to play devil's advocate, if we're to be relegated, it's a massive shout to say Pep will stay, but it's a win-win for Pep Guardiola, isn't it? If we're found guilty and we're sent down, Pep gets the chance to do what he was always said he wouldn't be able to do, which was win in the lower leagues with less of a budget. Now, we are going to talk about what would happen if City were to sent down, but and then if we're found innocent, it's business as usual. You know, as you were, continue dominating, continue trying to win all the major trophies, etc., etc. If City were to be relegated, chap, we would still absolutely dominate down in the lower tiers. Why? Because if we're relegated, the top players are going to want to leave, first of all. They still hold a value. They still hold a massive, massive value, these top players. Like, yes, you'll probably have to take slightly less for them than maybe you would right now because we're a relegated team. But these are still world-class players that you're going to sell for, you know, multiple of them 60, 70 million, and a couple of them you're talking around the 100 mark. So you sell all these top players because they don't want to hang around, whatever, or some of them don't want to hang around. You recoup the money that you earned from for selling them, and you can all of a sudden reinvest that legally at this point because the whole situation's done. You can reinvest your earnings into really good players for the level, or the way better players than the level that we've been sent down to. So people think if City gets sent down to League 2 or League 1 or the Championship, we're never coming back up. We would be back up, in my opinion, rapid, like straight away. 40 people in the building, smash a like button, please. Let's try to get up to 30 likes rapid. You guys are doing really, really well in that. Cash, he's already said he'll stick around if we get relegated. If he does anything other than that, then nobody will take him at his word ever again. I disagree with that, Akash. I disagree with that because, look, you can't hold it to the man who's won us absolutely everything. In my opinion, is the greatest manager of all time. You can't hold it to him that if he doesn't want to play, if he doesn't want to manage in League 2 or League 1 or the Championship, you can't say that. You can't say that that's a bad thing or we can't trust you ever again. No, at that point you have to say fair enough. And that goes for the players as well. The players who have won us so much, if they turn around and say we don't want to play in the Championship or League 1 or League 2, you got to say fair enough. These guys, they're above that level. Look, I believe your Phil Fodens will stick around or would stick around. I'm not going to say will because we're not being sent down. This is all hypothetical because the context of the stream is hypothetical, or the topic is hypothetical. Your Phil Fodens will stick around, loyal to the club. Who else is there that would stick around? There's probably a couple of them would stick around because they love the club and they want to help City get back to the top. And City will pay them astronomical wages in comparison to what other players in that lower league would be paid. So it's still not the worst thing in the world. But my thing is, Pep is a man of his word. I fully believe Pep is a man of his word, and he will stick around if this issue arises. And he is that kind of guy, Pep. He is that guy. The defiance is a big thing for him. Like the report says Pep Guardiola will sign a new deal purely out of defiance. What a statement that would be. What a statement that would be. If City were to be found guilty, once again, I don't think we will be. If we were to be found guilty and we get a massive punishment and the next week City announce Pep Guardiola sign a new contract. Imagine that for 2 fingers to the rest of world football. Because the rest of world football would assume that with City going down, that's City done. Pep will leave. All the top players will leave. The owners might want to leave too. Imagine Pep turns around, Joe, and goes, nah, here's a 2-3 year deal, mate. We're going back up.
Well, the reason everybody's kicking off about these charges and wants it done immediately is because they can't beat us. they can't beat us because Pep's here. Like, the best way to be able to win a Premier League title against us, unless we fall off, which is how Liverpool won their Premier League title, unless we fall off, it's get rid of Pep Guardiola. But I don't think they really understand that, you know, if you get rid of us from the Premier League and send us down, then Pep Guardiola's not going to go anywhere. In fact, he's more likely to actually stay on and be here for longer, which kind of defeats the whole point of, you know, trying to get rid of him, really, doesn't it? That, you know, if you send us down, he's just going to stay. And it just goes against everything you're trying to do. So I don't know whether everybody understands that point. He's a man of his word. 100% man of his word. If we, hypothetical yet again, because this will not happen, But in the hypothetical situation that we do get sent out, we get banished from the Premier League, I truly believe he will stay. He'll go out of his way to just prove a point. Be like, right, you're going to send me down? I'll be back. I'll be back soon. Keep my seat warm.
Right, we've got 55 people in the building. I think that's the most we've had since we started streaming again, Joe. Guys, let's try and get up to 50 likes. That's the target for these streams all the time. If we could hit 50 likes in the first 20 minutes, that'd be kind of crazy. So yeah, hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. Pep's a weird man. Pep's a weird man, and I don't mean that in a negative connotation. If you remember when Pep Guardiola first came to Manchester City, the kind of common consensus, even City fans kind of accepted a little bit that we're not going to have this guy forever. 2-3 years, a lot of people said. Now he's in what, 7-8. He's already defied logic when it comes to staying at Manchester City and how long he's been here for. I genuinely think Pep Guardiola has fallen in love with Manchester City Football Club. I don't think he stays as long as he has, considering the success he's had without being totally in love. Especially now that we've won a treble, we've won, I think he's won 5 Premier Leagues now. He's dominated cup competitions as well. I really think that after one of those successful years, Pep was going to eventually go, I've done it. I've completed it. Let me move on to Serie A or let me move on to international football. He never did that. And the constant talk from Pep Guardiola, which is something he doesn't really like to go into, but more recently he is that he wants to stay. He's like, once the board are happy with me, once they want to keep me, I'm not leaving. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, normally managers would be like, oh, look, we'll see what happens in the future, or we'll deal with that situation when we get there. But Pep's like, if the board want me to stay and they're happy with me, I will stay. And he maintains that. And you have to think about, why does Pep Guardiola love Manchester City so much? Because we have not been ruthless and stupid with Pep Guardiola. First of all, just giving him what he needs, which is the tools to be successful. We've done that. We've given Pep Guardiola the money, the wages for himself, the money to buy whatever players he wants, essentially, and given him total control of the club. You control the first team. We've got the academy teams playing the way you want. Pep Guardiola is the head man. He's the head man of our ship. We've given him everything he needs, essentially. And then the big thing is the faith and trust that the club have put in Pep Guardiola is something that I think we don't talk about enough, and I think he feels really, really repaid by, which is that, like, we all know Pep Guardiola. Yes, of course, we brought him in because we wanted him to dominate and hopefully dominate the Premier League when he first arrived. But the main goal, the pinnacle of bringing Pep Guardiola in, was to win the European Cup. I don't shy away from that. On all the shows I did over the years that we lost the European Cup in embarrassing fashion, I still accepted that Pep Guardiola was brought in to make Manchester City a powerhouse in Europe as well as the Premier League. And through all of our failings, many in embarrassing fashion, many inexplicable, we still stood by Pep. We never once said, oh, maybe he's not the man for the job. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's taken us as far as he can. Us as fans never threw our toys out of the pram. Us as fans never said, we want a manager who's going to win us the Champions League guaranteed. Go and spend money on a manager who's going to win us the Champions League guaranteed. No. And then the board. You remember we lost the Champions League final in Porto. Khaldun, the first thing he said to Pep on that podium was, don't worry, we'll be back here again. It was never, oh, we're going to have to discuss this because this isn't working out. We're 6-7 years in, you've still not won us the Champions League. We're going to have to reevaluate this. We always knew Pep was going to be our man. We always knew Pep was going to be our guy to do it. And he did it. So Pep has a home at Manchester City. Pep has a home, a fan base that adore him, a board that trust him and give him whatever he wants, an ownership that love him, a squad full of players that want to be there to play for him. Any egos that have ever come into the dressing room have been eradicated very quickly. It's Pep's club. Sheikh Mansour is on the sheet of paper, but Pep Guardiola is the face of Manchester City Football Club, Joe.
He is, which is great. Because it works now. I guess that the one negative I have with that, and that's just me being a Debbie Downer, is when he does leave. For one, the pressure on the next man is fucking huge. Like, it's astronomical, the pressure on the next man. But as well, at the same time, a lot of these things that are going on, like it's Pep's club. The next man who comes in, is he going to have those same privileges? I don't know. We'll wait on seeing that one. To be honest, I'm not even thinking about it because, like, this whole narrative of he's been bought in for the Champions League, it's stuck with us. Stuck with us for a long, long time. I mean, we can go through the heartbreaks, the embarrassment. Monaco, Spurs, Lyon was probably, his work. And then Madrid happened a few years ago. We threw that in the bin. Like, pretty bad. Porto was just, it's just one that you're trying to erase from your memory. But I always had that feeling that, we would challenge again. Like, it's that feeling with Pep Guardiola. He makes your team so good that you just believe that it will happen again. And that's kind of the point that I got to. I think that's the point everyone got to halfway through last season, is when we switched up the system, when we found something that clicked, we really thought to ourselves, we could go on a run here. There's something special brewing, because management is, or football is, you like to say it's cyclical, because it is. You can't win the same way every single time. There needs to be a change at some point. Players come and go, systems come and go, sometimes managers come and go. The great thing about Pep Guardiola is we've never once had to think about ever him leaving for one, or even getting rid of him for two, because he's always come up with new ideas, always come up with new tactics, playing players in positions that you didn't think they'd be able to play in. Like, we had Bernardo Silva playing as a left back last year. That was wild. Like, he does stuff that sometimes it doesn't work, and he gets accused of overthinking. But that's the life of a manager. If it works, he's a genius. He's a tactical masterclass. If it doesn't work, he's overthought it. It's his fault, his problem. He tried to do something special that didn't work. And that's kind of the cycle of being a manager. But every single time he bounces back, he finds something that works. Bernardo Silva played 2 games at left back. I think it was Forest and Arsenal. Didn't really work. He never played him there again. He tried it, and then he never did it again because he realised it didn't work. And then he did this whole thing with Stones going into this sort of pushing up from the centre of defence, and we were like, hold on a second. We've got something. No one ever thought of that being a tactical idea. But Pep was like, let me try this. And it worked. It won us a treble. Like, that's the great thing about Pep, is that we've never once had to worry about, the future, because we know that he's going to find something that works.
It's very rare. It's very rare in football at all. By the way, we're 4 likes off 50, which is insane in the first 20 minutes to be nearly at 50 likes. I know I keep saying about it, but the support you guys are showing on these late night streams is sick. So if there's 4 of you that haven't hit the like button, just get up to 50. That'd be unbelievable. But it's very rare in football, particularly nowadays when you have so many clubs with really rich owners and entitled fan bases that know how rich their owners are and demand success instantaneously. It's very rare you find a relationship between a club and a manager like the relationship between Pep Guardiola and Manchester City Football Club. It was like a match made in heaven. Look, we know as City fans how blessed we are to have Pep Guardiola, and through all the trials and tribulations, and look, we'll always focus on the good times because there are way more good times than bad times, but we've had periods where he was experimenting and you're kind of going, what the hell is this crazy guy doing? What is he at? Like Champions League final at important stages, he plays no number 6 and you're going, what the fuck is he doing? But we knew that this guy is, through all his craziness and madnesses, he's still the best. He's still, in my opinion, the best there ever was and the best there ever will be. He's the most influential man in football since Johan Cruyff. How many managers have come along in the Premier League or anywhere that have had so many other managers try to replicate their styles of play? I mean, look at the Premier League now, for one. You've got Vincent Kompany, you've got Arteta, you've got De Zerbi, you've got Ange, you've got loads of them all trying to play a form of Pep Guardiola style football, whether it's tiki-taka, whether it's fast-paced, whether it's inverted fullback, inverted winger, whatever. Everyone wants to be Pep Guardiola. Everyone's singing off Pep's hymn sheet, and we have him. I think it's another testament to how smart that our board are, is that they realise this. They realise that, look, if we were to go and have sacked Pep, say, after the Spurs loss in the Champions League. Big up, Jeff. I see you in the chat there. I know you remember that. If we were to have sacked him, Like Roman Abramovich was capable of those kind of things. Real Madrid have sacked managers that have won the Champions League and lost La Liga to Barcelona. Abramovich has sacked managers that have won major trophies just a couple months before. It's not abnormal for these really rich or egotistical owners to do so. If we had done that, our club know fine well that if we had have gone and got someone else, even another big name at the time, a Mourinho, a Zidane, I don't know, a Conte was big at the time as well. The whole structure of the club changes from top to bottom. The academy has to do things differently. All of a sudden, the whole style of play has to change. The manager's going to want different players. Everything Pep's built has to change. We had invested in Pep 100%, and that never changed. And I don't think it ever will change. And I think that's why Pep Guardiola is going to continue. I don't think we're going to get any 5-10-year contract extensions, people. If you think that's what I'm kind of hinting at. No, I don't think we're going to get any mad contract extensions for Pep Guardiola. I think we will continuously get 1, 2, maybe 3 if we're lucky year extensions from Pep Guardiola, because look, he's still so young. What is he, 56 or something, or 52 maybe? I don't know. He's in his early to mid 50s. He's still got so much to offer world football. Where is he going to go to get better? Where is he going to go to get better? Whereas where he is right now, he's in the mix. He's in the middle of creating a dynasty that possibly nobody ever can overturn. All Alex Ferguson has on Pep is the longevity. Pep has completed more in his shorter amount of time in the Premier League than Alex Ferguson did in his first 7-8 years in the Premier League. Do you know what I'm saying? So we have to. He's 53. That's it. Section. He's 53. So this report from Sam Lee, in conclusion, doesn't come as it's not one that makes me go, that's just, paper talk, or that's just trying to appeal to the City fans, or that's just, hot air type thing. I believe there is substance to it. I think, like I said, it all comes back to this match made in heaven I'm talking about. Pep Guardiola, he loves Manchester. He owns a restaurant in Manchester. He's got property in Manchester. He loves our club, and our club loves him. You even see you hear about the relationship he has with Khaldoon, of course, the chairman level, and then Sheikh Mansour out in Abu Dhabi, who he goes and he visits, I think it's twice a year. They get on like a house on fire. They're so aligned in vision. They're so aligned in direction, and they have full trust in each other. Like, look, if you want to bring it back to the charges, if our club was facing a guilty sentence where we're going to be done, the worst of these 115 are going to stick and we're going to be hit, Pep Guardiola would be first to know. He'd be first to know. And if he had plans of leaving after with an admission of guilt, he'd be gone by now. He'd have left after we won the treble. He would have said, I'm bowing out. He knows in the back of his head the club's going to be found guilty in the near future, but he's done his job. He's won the Champions League. He's won multiple Premier Leagues. He'd be gone. Why is he still here? We could still be guilty, but why is he still here? He'd know if we're going to be guilty. Why is he still here? Because he's defiant. He wants to stand for this club. He wants to face this club. He wants to support and be defiant, essentially, Joe.
Well, yeah, I guess it's kind of crunch time when, at least when I think about it in terms of his future and him staying on. Because you mentioned him staying on after dominating and winning things. Now, he has literally won everything. There is not a single trophy in England that he hasn't won at least one time. One time. He's done everything. He's done a treble. He's done a domestic clean sweep of every single trophy available. He's 3-peat. He's on for a fucking 4-peat, which is wild. Like, only thing Sir Alex has on him is the longevity. Like you said, the longevity, the 20 years or so. But in terms of, if you break it down into what he's won in the time that he's been here, his record's better. His record's better because he's done more in a shortened space of time. You can throw the money argument about, but I could throw, Fergie time about and all the sort of shenanigans going on there. So, there's things all over really in that side of things. But I think it's crunch time in terms of his future, because he could have, like you said, he could have easily walked and gone, I've won everything. Or he could have walked, said he was going at the end of the season, because the only things he hadn't won after the Champions League were the Club World Cup and the Super Cup. He's done those two, ticked them off, they're done. So, we could have known by now that, like, he thinks, right, I've done everything. My time is now. I've got nothing else to prove. But he's not. He wants to stay. He wants to be here. He has a great relationship. All his Barcelona mates are here. So I don't see a reason why he would feel to jump ship. And I don't really know where he would go either. Like, I know there's always been talk of he wants to try international management. But I don't know. I'm not really clued in, to be honest, with the international side of things. I find it boring and I don't really pay too much attention. But I don't think there's like a very open opportunity for him to manage an international side right now. I don't think there is. I think the England job may be up for grabs, but I don't think he'd want that. Or maybe he would, I don't know. You'd have to ask him, but like, I don't really see an international opportunity readily available now. I'm not sure that high on his list of priorities would be Serie A or going to PSG. PSG just hired Luis Enrique, so you don't think there'd be an opportunity there. And as for Serie A, I just don't know. There was interest from Juventus a few years ago. Would he still consider it with the mess that they're kind of going through right now? I don't know. There's no better place for him to be. And again, like, it's a testament to how good he is that, when he came into the Premier League, he had managers like Allardyce and Pulis and, all these long ball, set piece, long throwing managers. And now you've got, albeit they're struggling at the bottom, Burnley, but they're playing football. Vincent Kompany, like you said, De Zerbi. And it even goes further down, like our EDS and under 18s, they also won 3 titles in a row at their level. Like, that's how far down the coaching goes. You look at Enzo Maresca, one of Pep's assistant managers, he's gone off to Leicester. They're smashing the Championship right now. Like, it runs deeper than just the Premier League. It goes down to youth level, it goes down to the lower divisions. Like, football in this country has changed since he has been here.
He's totally revolutionised football as a sport, particularly in England. The impact he's had on English football, which is, look, English football is traditionally a very heavy-hitting, 4-4-2 type mentality. Long throws, long balls over the top, and physicality and pace are what it's all based around. And when Pep arrived, I mean, where is it? Who says it here? Top of the league. That first Pep year was not smooth. Thankfully, the fan base stuck with the manager of the team. Not quite the Fergie wobbles, but defo not smooth. Exactly. We just stuck with it. And Pep completely changed the landscape and the way in which football. He was laughed at. We were laughed at when we were saying back then to other people that Pep is going to come in and play this extravagant Mediterranean-style football, Johan Cruyff-esque as well. We were laughed at. People were like, that won't last in England. That won't be successful in England. It's been successful. It's been mega successful. Now, what do I think is the worst case scenario when it comes to Pep Guardiola's future at Manchester City? I think he stays another 3, 4, maybe 5 years, and he goes off and tries something else. Maybe international football, maybe another club if there's a club in a good position to house Pep Guardiola come then. The best case scenario for me, which I think is a possibility, is he continues to extend. He stays for another good long period, and pending Sheikh Mansour is still the owner and Khaldun is still involved, Pep gets some sort of a role as, I don't know, director of football, sporting director, something like that when he gets into his 60s. I don't know. It all depends on how much longer Pep wants to manage for. Because you don't know, with managers like Pep who have won so much and will continue to win so much, he may eventually get to the point where he's like, I want to finish managing and I wouldn't mind trying something new. And director of football type things, sporting director, these kind of things might appeal to someone like Pep. Or else he could do it on an interim basis to help oversee the next manager that comes in to take over from Pep Guardiola. I don't know. It's one of those ones we'll have to just wait and see. But I'm very satisfied. I love Pep Guardiola. As someone who goes to most, if not all, the home games, he comes over to the South Stand where I sit after every game and he thanks us. He makes sure the players thanks us. He loves the club. He's passionate. We know this. We can't ask for much more. And I can't ask for much more from you guys, chat, because you got us to over 60 likes. The support that we're growing on this little community that we love so much is unbelievable. You guys are absolutely fantastic in subscribing and smashing the likes and showing love to Joe's videos. Massively appreciate you all. All we can ask is that you keep doing it. Just keep joining us. We love hearing from you guys. Let's park Pep Guardiola there for the minute. Get in your questions and get in your thoughts, and we'll keep reading them out as well. But let's kind of move our way on to Kalvin Phillips. Of course, added his stream earlier on. City Extra with Jordan, we spoke about Kalvin Phillips, where it went wrong, what it means for us. Life without Kalvin Phillips. It's crazy that it is to say. Life without Kalvin Phillips.
No.
What's that going to look like? I suppose, Joe, and the chat get involved as well. I'll try and read out as many of your thoughts as possible. He's gone to West Ham, 6-month loan, option to buy. We don't know how much the option to buy is. I've seen figures of 30 million quoted around. I think it's a good move for him. He's off the wage book entirely, exactly, Fraser. West Ham are going to pay all his wages. So how do you feel about this one, Joe?
I was about to say something really mean, like good riddance. I don't mean that at all. I really like Kalvin Phillips. I still do. I still think there's a player in there. I said it in my video that came out this morning that I think he's going to smash it. I think he's going to smash it because I still think there's a really good player in there. I hope he does well because I hope we can try and recoup some money. It's not going to work. Even if he does well at West Ham, there's not a thought that we should be like thinking about having him back. Like, that's not the purpose of the loan. The purpose of the loan is him trying to prove that he still has, you know, the footballing ability and we can maybe get some money back. But again, like, he's a really nice guy. It's a shame it hasn't worked. But like, I wish him nothing but the best. Like, he's a treble winner at the end of the day, so he's edged into our history forever. Like, we can't forget Kalvin Phillips.
So you like him?
I do like Kalvin Phillips, but again, I agree with you. I know you say this a lot. He's going to do well. He's going to do well. He's a good player still.
Look, it's no embarrassment to not make the grade at Manchester City, so we will continue to talk about him. But there's a super chat here. Big up Rustin O'Neill with the $4.99. Massively appreciate the super chat. Like I always say, we never ask for super chats, but when you do send them, it really does help us. So thank you, Rustin. He says, Manchester United went to the stock market to have a capital injection in 1991 and continued to float on the market, hence the Glazer takeover. Cash was pumped into Manchester United. Rustin, you've hit the nail on the head. And it's a point that a lot of people refuse to acknowledge. People think that Manchester City are just where they are because of money. Oil money this, oil money that, Sheikh Daddy this, Sheikh Daddy that, right? And they think all these clubs that they have nostalgic and teams they have nostalgic thoughts over just were founded out of nowhere. You know, Manchester United made their treble team with no money. Fergie spent no money. Their double team with Tevez, Ronaldo and Rooney, they spent no money on. United spent an absolute fortune over the course of that massively successful period. You need money to be successful. The Glazers pumped money into Manchester United, which made them mega successful under Alex Ferguson. And now that the Glazer money that's being pumped in isn't showing any success, it's time for Glazer out. You weren't saying Glazer out when Glazer money was winning you trophies, were you? People don't talk about this. It's like, oh, but the infrastructure of the club and the training ground. You didn't care about the infrastructure and the training ground and the lack of paint on Old Trafford when you were lifting the Champions League and the Premier League. No, you didn't. Now it's green and gold scarves. They're still spending money. They've still spent over $1 billion in the same period that sort of we have. But it's not meant trophies, so it's Glazers out. I guarantee you, chat, if we get to a period where we still have Sheikh Mansour and we go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years without a trophy, I won't be sitting there with black and blue scarves on saying Sheikh Mansour out. No, it's total entitlement and a total lack of understanding of a situation. Football is cyclical. Their cycle came to an end and they're throwing their toys out of the pram. 80 people in the building. Rah! 80 people, man. Hit the likes. Big up Rustin again with the $4.99. Rustin, you absolute hero, my friend. Funny they call us cheating when their success was built off people injecting money into the club right before the TV licensing revenue increases. You're spot on, Rustin. It's the same. It's the same with most successful clubs. Chelsea, like I don't need to speak on Chelsea. Roman Abramovich absolutely made them what they are. Arsenal spent money on their team. Liverpool have spent money on their successful team of recent. But Man United are the big one. The big dominating team over the last however long was Manchester United. The big domineering team before us was Manchester United. They spent a fuck ton of money. They don't like a new kid on the block. We are the new kid on the block. Joe, do you have anything to add to those super chats? Big up Rustin, by the way, again. Massively appreciate you, brother.
I found it. I bottled it last night on fucking City Extra. I couldn't find it. I found it again. Damn, 2 super chats. Yeah, I mean, like, it's mad, innit, the flip-flopping that all of these problems go away when you win. Like you said, there was no bad word to say about United. Roof was leaking. Don't matter. We won the Premier League. Like, I can guarantee you, if Ten Hag turned around, let's say next season they have this miraculous turnaround and Ten Hag wins the Premier League, are there going to be any green and gold? Are there going to be Glazers out? Are there going to be, the infrastructure's not good enough and this, that, etc. The X, Y, Z isn't working? No, because they're winning. And that's all they care about is winning, which is fine to care about winning and to have standards at your football club. But you can't flip-flop from, just because you've stopped winning. Like, that doesn't happen. We'll go through a period. I have no doubt in my mind that post-Pep, post-Tiki and all of these board members that we currently have, we'll probably go through a dry patch. Because it happens. It happens in football. Everyone's gone through a dry... Arsenal haven't won a Premier League in 20 years. It took, Liverpool 30 until they won a couple of years ago? A few years ago? Like,
Yeah.
It just happens. It happens in football. Like the constant theme, it's cyclical. You don't win all the time. You don't lose all the time. So, it's just a bit sort of flip-floppy, hypocritical sort of... you get on with it. You, as United fans, you have been blessed with one of the most dominant eras in English top-flight history, and you're still complaining just because you're going through a dry spell. You won a trophy last season. Be happy.
And look, they think they're making a statement. For those of you who watch Man United, I don't watch them that often because I just don't care. But I've watched them a couple of games where they've won, and the Stretford end would start singing, "We want Glazers out," so we want Glazers out, thinking they're making a statement. No, we know that you're kind of doomed right now, and you think just because you've won and singing that means that you mean it. No, you weren't singing that when you were all dancing in the car park after you beat Barcelona, or suing in the car park after you signed Cristiano Ronaldo, Sancho, and Varane and all the same summer. It's fickle, and look, I think this topic really applies to something that a lot of you City fans in the chat, younger ones like myself and Joe, we get told a lot that we're plastic glory fans, right? Look, me and my Irish accent, he must be plastic and glory. Don't know anything about my family, obviously. They don't know anything about where I come from and my roots to City, but he's Irish, he's not Mank, he must be a plastic glory City fan. Right, okay. We get this a lot, Joe, as younger fans. United have a massive fan base. Why? Because they won a fuckload of trophies during a specific period in time. Now, you think this massive worldwide United fan base are all from Salford? No, they're not. They got fans because they were successful. It's the nature of a club. And now they don't like it that we have come along. We are growing a fan base. And if you are new to Manchester City, I'm not. I've been around since before the takeover. But if you are new to Manchester City and you only got into following Manchester City because we're successful, you're welcome. You are welcome here. We're glad to have you at the club. No, we're not going to plastic shame or call anybody out for it. You're all welcome. Everybody's welcome. So don't listen to that shit. Big up P-Dubs with the $4.99 as well. Super chats are flying in tonight. Massively appreciate all the super chats, Rustin and P-Dubs. Hugh, I need a platform for a preview against Spurs Friday. Get me on the show. My internet is mint. What does the chat say? Come on, you Spurs. When could we run that? It's on Friday. I'll have Big Six on Thursday. Leave it with me, Jeff. Jeff, follow me on Instagram. You see it there at HughMurray13, and we'll try and organise something. I'd love to have you on the show. I know you're a good guy, Jeff. I remember meeting you in New York, and you've been here for all the streams since we started. So follow me on Instagram if you have Instagram or Twitter. Shoot me a message, and we'll try and arrange it. It'd be good to speak to you, even if it's just you and Joe. I'm sure you and Joe will get on great. But yeah. Anyways, look, enough of that Man United talk. We're not here to talk about Man United, but I think it's very applicable. You have to take these points on board, and people are very inconsistent and hypocritical. Guys, make sure you hit the like button. I keep saying it, but you guys are really smashing it. You guys are really smashing the likes and subscribing and that as well. So massively appreciate you all. Let's get back to Kalvin Phillips, guys. Let's get back to Kalvin Phillips because I kind of got all my thoughts across earlier on with Jordan on City Extra, but I want to get yours, Joe, on what it means moving forward. Obviously, we now only have one recognised number 6 at the club. Rodri has to stay fit, he has to stay consistent, and he has to stay away from suspension. Is that something that concerns you?
Yes, because he's what? we went through it yesterday. So Jordan thought it was 2. People were telling him it was 3. Regardless, he's 2 or 3 yellow cards away from a 2-game suspension. Not a 1-game suspension, a 2-game suspension. With what you already ran through yesterday, that awful scheduling of, what is it, Anfield and Villa at home and Brighton away, and it's awful. Derby in there as well, Champions League games. It's awful. It's a really, really tough schedule. And his next suspension, if he picks up like 3 more yellow cards, is 2 games. Imagine he misses like Anfield. Imagine. And no hope of getting a result. Absolutely none. Like, the slim hope of getting a result, because our record at Anfield is terrible. We all know that. But without Rodri, you can pretty much kiss it goodbye. It just doesn't really happen, does it? So he needs to stay away from yellow cards. He needs to give his head a wobble a little bit, because he has been prone to a little bit of head loss this season, really, hasn't he? Like, he was on a yellow card and he was kicking out against Newcastle. He doesn't need to do that. Like, he just needs to calm himself a little bit. But that's the main concern, because I don't think we're going to sign anyone. That's my point of view. I don't think we're going to sign a player in January. It doesn't look like we're going to anyway. So, I don't know, maybe Kovacic played as a holding midfielder against Huddersfield. He did pretty well, but he's also played there in other games and not looked too great. He also lacks the physical side of things that Rodri has. He's been a little bit underwhelming, Kovacic, on his return from injury. He's just a little bit of a different player from Rodri. So I don't know whether they have enough confidence that Kovacic can fill in if necessary, or whether they have enough confidence that Rodri can stay available. It's got to be one of the two. You can't get rid of Kalvin Phillips, not sign someone in January, and also then realise that you're going to lose Rodri and Kovacic isn't up to standard. Like, it's just a little bit poor planning. So I don't think he has too much to play with Kalvin Phillips, because even if he would have stayed, it's not like he would have been trusted to play anyway. But it is the lack of signing someone in his absence that kind of maybe worries me slightly with the whole Rodri suspension situation.
Yeah, it's a worrying one, but it is what it is. I mean, Fraser says, get Kimmich in summer, save him from Tuchel ban. My issue with that is, Fraser, as much as I love it, I think Kimmich is going to outlast Tuchel. I think Tuchel could be sacked before the end of the season, or probably will be sacked before the end of the season, in my opinion. And then Kimmich's issue is Tuchel, from my understanding. So, kind of off the cards. And as I said earlier on to the extra, you're going to find it mega hard to find a really good number 6 who's happy to come in where Rodri is. So it's difficult. I saw this message here from Hungy. Hugh, I have to confront you over Gündoğan over Touré. I was taken for a fool on the Big Six when people tried to make it out like it was such a crazy thing. I said I prefer Gündoğan over Touré, right? Now, before you all start sending for me, I get it. Touré at his peak was a better all-round player than İlkay Gündoğan. But the reason I prefer Gündoğan is just because of the memories and the moments and what he won. Our Champions League winning captain, our treble winning captain, Mr. Whippy that season. You remember that season, Mr. Whippy? The big goals, the crucial goals. Gündoğan just has a special place in my heart. And I wasn't really allowed to articulate that properly in the Big Six, Hungy. I know. Touré at his peak was the guy. But I also remember Touré, when his legs went and he couldn't run properly anymore. Gündoğan went out on a high. Touré didn't go out on a high. So my heart, I just have a bigger place for Gündoğan than I do for Yaya Touré. Joe, man, you should have seen the stick I got on the Big Six for saying Gündoğan over Touré. I had City fans in the comments being like, "Oh, I don't rate Hugh anymore now after that." And I was like, "No, you have to understand." I was like, you have to understand where I'm coming from. It's İlkay Gündoğan, man. 2 goals in the Manchester Derby FA Cup final, Champions League winning captain, goals left, right, and centre. Like 2 FA Cup goals, the Villa goals, top of the league. Come on, man. The Villa goals, they were special. Like Gündoğan, extremely underrated player. Extremely underrated. Like Yaya sick for Barca. Yaya was sick for I'm gonna call it 2 exceptional years for Manchester City and maybe 2 really good years for Manchester City. But Gündoğan, man, Gündoğan.
I kind of don't want to comment because I kind of want to just sit here and listen to you trying to defend that statement because there's obviously going to be a lot of people that disagree. But I can't sit here and lie and say I completely disagree. In my opinion, right? In terms of, we've had this discussion. Remember when we did the greatest player in Premier League history? There's a difference between the greatest player to play in the Premier League and the greatest Premier League player. I feel like that is a similar difference we've got here, where Yaya Touré was a better player than Gündoğan.
There you go.
But for City, Gündoğan has more memories. He has a longer shelf life at the top. He left on a high. He was captain of the greatest season in our club's history. Like, he has all of these intangibles with him. But at the same time, like, if I'm to pick on a purely based on pure footballing ability, there was not a single thing on the pitch Yaya Touré couldn't do. He still has one of the greatest single Premier League seasons of all time.
Yeah. What was it from midfield? He got some crazy stats. What was it again?
Was it 20 goals?
Someone in the chat will know. I remember I was only like 13 or 14 at the time, but Yaya put up some insane stats, like ridiculous stats. You're talking like Thierry Henry level stuff, Steven Gerrard level stuff, Frank Lampard. Yeah, 20 goals in a season of cash from midfield. Like, Yaya was an absolute beast. I know this. Trust me, I know this, people. I'm not sitting here saying Yaya was dead food. Yaya was crap. Yaya was insane. But my heart, I just love Ilkay Gündoğan for the moments, the glory. You know what I mean? I mean, top of the league, Touré did have awful moments too. People quickly forget those and only remember the good bits. Gündoğan had bad moments. Do you know what I mean? They both had bad moments. They're both terrific players. I get it. Yaya was unbelievable. People just are never going to accept my opinion here with this.
Listen, I accept your opinion because I feel like we have the same opinion here that Yaya Touré is a better player. Like, his ability was higher. There was not a single thing that he could do. He was a complete package. Again, this goes back to the best player in the Premier League debate that we had a few streams ago. I feel like the same reasoning applies, where Yaya Touré is a better player. He's just a better player. But in terms of, from a Manchester City perspective, I'd go with Ilkay Gündoğan because I think that he had longer at the top. And again, all the intangible things like treble winning and those 2 goals against Aston Villa, the one season where he scored like every other game, Mr. Whippy season, where we didn't have a striker and he just went ham. Like, the memories from Gündoğan, I think, are higher than Touré, but Touré was a better football player. I'm not going to sit there and deny that. Touré was a better football player.
No, look, if you're putting just on a footballing level, Touré versus Gündoğan, both at their peak, Touré clears Gündoğan, like, quite comfortably, like, clears him. Touré had Kevin De Bruyne aspects mixed in with David Silva aspects mixed in with Rodri aspects. Like, you think about those 3 players and how different they are and how excellent all 3 of them are at their best attributes. Touré had bits of all of them in there. He was like at both their peaks. Touré every single day of the week. I fully get it. But my point that I was trying to make on the Big Six, which people wouldn't accept and I got genuinely crucified for, was it's just, as a Man City fan, my emotions for Gündoğan are just higher. It's simple. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know.
I guess people kind of cling to the. He also scored against United in the FA Cup, didn't he? Like, he still has massive moments. That's a big one because that's, you know, that was our first trophy, man. That was the changing of the times. Like, from Yaya Touré scoring that goal. So, like, I get it, man. But, like, Gündoğan is like, you can't ignore a treble-winning captain. I'm sorry, you can't ignore a treble-winning captain.
No, you can't. You really can't. Like, look, like I said, Yaya was so important in us becoming what we are today, but Gündoğan is what we are today, if that makes sense. Like, I get it, Yaya scoring that goal against United and then, you know, helping us win our first trophy for that FA Cup for the first time in 40 odd years or something. That's Yaya, but I just look, and the thing is, like, look, my age, I'm 24. I know I look old, but I'm 24. Like, Yaya was at his pomp for City when I was like, what, 12, 13, 14 maybe, or 10 to kind of 13 sort of era. So I wasn't going to games as much. I didn't understand football as well as I do now. Whereas with Gündoğan, I've had a season ticket for the whole Gündoğan era. I've seen Gündoğan the flesh for all his best moments. I was there in Wembley when he scored the 2 goals against United. I was there. Joe was there for the game against Villa. So me just emotionally, Gündoğan has this special place for me. But I get what you're saying, chat. Trust me, I get it. And I'm not so blind. I don't get the license to speak like this in the Big Six because everyone goes, all angles. You know what I mean? I get it. At their peak, Yaya clears Gundo comfortably. Clears him. Hugh, if you say Rodri is better than Yaya, I'd agree with that now. You got to be careful, Stephen. You got to be careful. He's got a big fan base, Yaya. Rightly so. He was insane. He was unbelievable. Yaya was. Hugh, you got to be careful with Gundo versus Yaya because you're a white guy rating another white dude, and maybe black people are already feeling Yaya gets disrespected because he's black. It's nothing to do with race. It's absolutely nothing to do with race for me.
That's
and like I've just admitted. That's wild, yeah. As I've admitted, Gündoğan at his peak isn't anywhere near Yaya at his peak, but like I said, Gündoğan just has the special feelings, special place in my heart. Like, Joe, do you remember we were in that club in Manchester the night we beat Villa? The whole club singing, Ilkay, may the Scousers cry. Like, that was like these special moments that I've lived through. I've been there for. I've in person, not just watching on TV or going a couple times a season because I was too young to go every week like I do now. I've lived it. So it's just special to me. Yaya was like our first world-class player, wasn't he? Our first, Joe, would that be fair to say? Our first, beast.
Yeah, and he was wrote off when he signed as well. But he was like number one of players we signed, which I suppose it leaves a sour taste in my mouth as well because I'm even younger than you, so I don't even remember Prime Yaya Touré. All I can go off is like highlight videos. I remember the latter years where his legs went. And I
remember Prime Yaya. I remember Prime Yaya, but I was too young. I was in school. I had my own life, like as a kid playing football on the weekend. So I wasn't traveling to games. Didn't have the money that I have now. Fortunately, that I can go to games. And look, with the point section 20, there will always be a touch of what you've seen versus what has gone before. What I've seen with my own 2 eyes live in the flesh is Gündoğan. So, look, it is what it is.
When was Prime Touré? When was Prime Touré? Like, what time frame would you say for City, Prime Touré? What would you class it as?
Remember the goal? Remember the Aguero season? He was unbelievable that season. Remember the goal against Newcastle that season? I don't know if you remember the goal against Newcastle that season. The FA Cup winning season. That whole kind of 2010 to 2013, Yaya was...
2010, to put this into perspective, right, I'm young. 2010, I was 7. I was 7. I don't remember that shit. Like, I can't say it. My Yaya Touré memories was, I might have been there for one of his last home games that he played. And I also just remember games where his legs went like, I think it was 15, 16, the bright luminous green kit that I have, with the black trims on the edges, playing in the Bernabeu, and he was walking because his legs had gone. He basically just give up. Like, that's the Yaya Touré that I remember watching live, but I also kind of remember the one before because you go and you watch highlights, and again, like, there's not a single thing that he couldn't do. I mean, like, it's hard really to put them up against each other because I only remember Gündoğan. I've been there live in the flesh when he's played. I remember watching him live. I don't think I watched a single, like, the one that springs to my mind, and it's a very niche game, to be honest. I can't even remember. I think it was Pep's first season. We won 2-1 against Palace, and he scored twice, I think, off the bench. And that's like as good as it got for Touré for watching live because I didn't watch it before.
Look, it's one of those ones that loads of people are going to think that I'm a dickhead for thinking Gündoğan over Yaya. It's purely emotional. It's heart over head. You know when they say go with your head over your heart or go with your heart over your head? I'm putting my heart over my head. I know at both their primes, Yaya was better than Gündoğan. But Gündoğan was a bad boy as well, chat. Gündoğan was a bad man when he wanted to be. Really smart footballer. Lots of goals for a midfielder. Like orchestrating midfields, calm, composed. In those high-pressure situations, Gündoğan was a bad man. I know, Stephen, under Mancini, Yaya was sick. I know that. But look, like I say, I hope you guys understand my thought process, and if you don't, fair enough. If you don't, fair enough. But it's just where I'm at. P Dubs with the 199 at Dubs P. I'll follow you after the stream, Jeff. I'll follow you after the stream, and we'll try and set something up. If I can't do the show, if you're cool with doing it with Joe and he's cool with doing it, we'll try and set something up. But I'll give you a follow after this, and I'll shoot you a message. Big up for the super chats. Right, look, we've been live for about an hour now. We spoke about Pep, we spoke about Phillips for a little bit, but look, I did Phillips for like an hour earlier on with Jordan. I don't want to talk about him anymore. He's gone. And then we spoke about Gündoğan versus Yaya, a debate that I think is going to haunt me for years. Every time I say something silly in the Big Six, they're all going to go, yeah, but you said Gündoğan over Yaya. I can't take you seriously anymore. And I'm going to go, damn, okay. So look, I think we're going to wrap it up. I think we're going to wrap it up there. It's been a fun stream. Listen, you guys, big up Rustin for the super chats, big up Jeff for the super chats. You guys have smashed the likes. This is definitely our most viewed live stream since we started streaming again on this channel. Tomorrow is Wednesday night, so we will be back. I'm not doing any Big Six tomorrow. We will stream again tomorrow night, so make sure you subscribed. Make sure you've hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live. And hit the like button on your way out. Once again, I really want to reiterate, because I love this little community we have here. I absolutely love it. I'm not arsed about having 10, 100,000 subscribers, whatever. I just want a good little community that I can chat to with Joe here. We can all be, enjoy our own opinions in a respectful space where we can all have a laugh and enjoy football and City and that. So big up each and every single one of you. Make sure you're part of the community. Hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell, and we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, I reckon, 10:30, same time after the football. Yeah, wrap her up, Joey boy. Good night and God bless people. In a bit.
Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand.